We're live. Salute, salute, salute. The streets are raging tonight after the Knicks suffer an ugly loss at MSG. As always, we're here to talk about it. Salute to the chat. Salute to Knicks Nation. Salute Replay Gang. Lots to talk about. The Knicks went down in OT to the Portland Trailblazers, 129 to 132. Absolutely horrible loss. The Knicks should not have lost a game like this to a short-handed Portland Trailblazers as well. We're going to give out our grades. We're going to look at the road ahead. We're going to give out our reactions. Shout out to the chat. Let's get it, ladies and gentlemen. Nobody's off the hook tonight. We'll talk about some of the positives, but we're going to dissect this ugly loss, horrible loss. The Knicks should not have lost this game. Salute, 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 everyone. How's everybody feeling out here? Coming to terms with this ugly loss. The Knicks got up early in this game. It looked comfortable, up 14. Then, like we always say, in the blink of an eye, the Knicks play, coaching style, schemes, all conducive to breed inconsistencies with this squad. And the 14-point lead the Knicks built up capitulated, disappeared in the blink of an eye, just like Harry Houdini. And then the Portland Trailblazers pulled the Knicks into a dogfight. My word, it was an absolute dogfight after that, back and forth. And we saw all the Knicks' shortcomings of this roster come home to roost tonight. The Knicks have had some worse losses than tonight, some more uglier losses than tonight. But to me, probably this one, being a prisoner of the moment, hurts me probably the most because it was glaringly obvious, the shortcomings of this team, the schemes, switching at the end there. Guys like Jeremy Grant and Anthony Simons, as good as they are, handling their business on the road against us. I mean, where is the effort, the heart, all of that? Jalen Brunson tried to put the team on his back again, like he always does. Some heroic plays, I salute him, but it wasn't enough. Too much stagnation, some horrible reffing, which we'll get into as well. Nobody's off the hook tonight, like I said, but just a horrible loss, ladies and gentlemen. Let's chop it up. Shout out Geraldine. Appreciate you. How you feeling out here? Yeah, congrats for the shout out on Jay Boogie's latest release, the biggest. Salute to Jay Boogie for that. If you haven't seen it yet, check it out on the channel. Uploaded the worldwide release of the first track off his new album coming out. And many Knicks Nation got a shout out on that. It was an absolute blazing track as well. And first and foremost, hope everybody had a beautiful Thanksgiving as well with your families and with loved ones and enjoyed it. But we're back in action now as the season moves on. We're ready to top up this road ahead and the loss tonight on MSG as well. Lots going to come of tonight. There was rotation moves, some interesting situations where the Knicks needed to dig deep with Isaiah Hartenstein struggling. Jericho Sims stood up tonight. Emmanuel quickly had it going off the bench, should have got in the game earlier. But they're just some of the things to preview that we'll talk about throughout tonight's show. And we'll get everyone's thoughts out there, give out our grades, including Tom Thibodeau, because we've got to start giving him grades now. We haven't been giving him many grades, but man, tonight was a poorly coached performance. And of course, RJ Barrett, Julius Randle, their struggles, their shortcomings came home to roost tonight. And a lot of other Knicks struggled as well. So like I said, nobody's off the hook, but the streets are raging tonight. Smash that like button. We're here to talk about it. This is therapy. Buzzer beater. Salute. McRib combo with a Coke over RJ. Oh, man. Frustrating night. One of the most frustrating games I've ever watched from RJ Barrett. Right, the first half through to three quarters basically looked like one of RJ's worst games. Nothing was going right for him, and I mean nothing as well. He made some nice plays later in the game, stuck with it, but it was still a really, really, really bad performance from RJ Barrett overall. Salute, cash out. Right, yep. First and foremost, yeah, we got to pay credit to the opponent as well. No disguising the fact that they've got talent. Jeremy Grant was a mismatch tonight, and when I mentioned the shortcomings of the Knicks roster, we really miss Cam Reddish tonight. You know, uh, RJ Barrett's a little bit too small, undersized to stick with Grant, and Julius Randle was too big, too slow for Jeremy Grant. He exploited that. Yeah, and boy, did they look good with Grant and Simons, 82 points apiece as well, with 52 free throws, ladies and gentlemen. Let that sink in the words of Ron Cleveland. And horrible officiating tonight. It was just ticky tack. I mean, who gets 52 free throws on the road with that situation? Michael, salute chat. Yeah, it's a tough one to swallow, really. But I'll start with this. First and foremost, the loss tonight wasn't on the fourth quarter, the third quarter, overtime. It was lost in the first half, first and second quarter. The Knicks were cruising. The Knicks were up. Yeah, and like I said, there was a point in this game where I thought, you know what, we're cruising right now. We're up 14. But what's going to happen? Are we going to put our foot on their throat like we should, like a good team should? When you're playing at home at MSG, you need to put your foot on the other team's throat and go ahead. That's what a good team does. And the New York Knicks are just not a good team. They were unable to do it. The lead capitulated, in the blink of an eye. And I say this, the team generally starts to feel itself, feeling good about itself when they have some success. They get up a little bit, careless plays, ill-advised shots, and all of that, are conducive to the other team getting back in the game. As well as the Knicks, obviously the talent deficiencies are there, but we don't run our offense through our best weapon more often than we should. You know, like I said, Jalen Brunson does fantastic work, gets us up, the ball's moving, the ball's flowing, and then there's a little bit more ill-advised shots, when RJ and Randall, take over some of the offense, right? But absolutely tough one to swallow, really. One of the worst losses, in years to me. Short-handed Portland Trailblazers, you absolutely needed to take care of this game tonight, right? Now, again, being a prisoner of the moment, I really don't feel as confident seeing the Knicks any higher than the ninth seed, ninth or 10th, because a good team, a better team finishes the Blazers, tonight. Yeah, and it was just unacceptable, disgusting loss, ugly loss as well. Tom Thibodeau is going to feel the wrath from tonight, and so some of the other players. But cash out, salute. Yeah, RJ didn't play well, but he got fouled so many times and no call. Yep, both can be true, absolutely. And both can be true. Frustrating. Um, we know how one-dimensional RJ Barrett is. It's the three ball or it's bully ball to the cup, and generally he struggles if he doesn't get the foul call. He rarely finishes, in traffic well. Fam. And yeah, he definitely struggled with that situation. Um, but what I saw tonight was that it just affected everything. It affected his effort defensively as well. It was ill-advised shots, all of that stuff as well. Cash out says also, in my opinion, Randall is why we lost this game, even with RJ's bad shooting. Well, yep. Randall is absolutely a momentum killer, like you said. Um, We've got to talk about that critical shot early in overtime as well. The heat check, that was just not a smart play at all. But, we've come to expect that from Julius Randle from time to time, or more often than we should. Julius Randle definitely wants to be a huge part of this team. He wants to be that guy, and we saw that reflective in that heat check as well. Yes, he hit a three before that, but that was just really, really, really unnecessary to pull up that deep at that point of the game as well. The Blazers went on a 7-0 run after that, and it was toast. So again, momentum killer is Julius as well. Again, we talked about Julius's, strengths, getting downhill, all of that. Julius Randle in the half court offense ain't great. Let's be real about it, right? And I keep sounding like a broken record. I want this offense to run through Jalen Brunson all the time, whether it's pick and roll, blazing to the cup, kicking it back out for that kind of thing. Randall at the top of the key, those kind of situations. That's That's not a good situation to be in. Randall at the top of the key, handling the ball way too long. There was also that stretch in the game where Randall was posting up. He bounced the ball about 6 to 7 times before he finally passed it to Quentin Grimes, at the top of the key. You got to be quicker than that, Julius. You got to be quicker moving the ball. Absolutely. Yeah, we know he's clunky fit. The shortcomings come home to roost for this situation with Julius Randle and this organization, right? You brought in that point guard, let him handle the rock most of the time on offense as well. He's an efficient player, almost won us the game, despite everybody else's folly. Yep. Like Cash Out also says, yeah, we all saw that heat check, and it was an absolute terrible shot. I mean, people in the stadium, the arena, in their lounge rooms all around the world were cussing out that situation because yeah, it was just a horrible, timely, ill-advised shot from Julius. Right? He ain't a three-point shooter. I don't know what's got into his head to think that that was a good shot. At that point in time, and also with Julius, if he ain't clicking on offense, what is he really doing on the other side? Now, why the hell were they switching late in the game constantly? It was like 10 possessions in a row on Anthony Simons, Jeremy Grant. I know they were tough matchups, but the switching, I mean, really? I mean, Julius Randle switching onto Anthony Simons, having RJ Barrett guard Jeremiah Grant. I mean, again, it's the blind leading the blind at the moment. Tom Thibodeau's had a whole how many training camps with these guys now? Um, you know, in terms of Tom Thibodeau, horrible coach game, horrible coach for this team, horrible schemes. Let's get him out of here. Right? I'm done with it. Forget about this road trip. Forget about the success of the road trip. It's time for Tom Thibodeau to get out of town with that situation because I'm just sick of his schemes as well. They don't breed consistency with that situation. You should know the weaknesses of your players as well, right? The definition of insanity is letting them do the same thing over and over and over and over again, and it cost you tonight. Again, how many bad losses are we going to see at MSG before something's done about it, right? Hold these people accountable as well. Again, our offense is doing okay, 129, but the defense is just porous as well, leaving shooters wide open. Um, Another critical play I want to mention too is the Anthony Simons rise up three as well. I think that was early in OT or late in the fourth. I think it was the go ahead bucket. Um, that he jab stepped, jab stepped. You could tell what he wanted to do. Run him off the line at that point in time. It just wasn't smart play. You'd tell from my living room that he wanted to rise up and shoot the three, but you didn't get your hand up and you still let him rise up and shoot the three. I mean, it's just that the IQ of this team is very, very poor um, with this situation. Very, very, very poor is the IQ for this team, and we're going to continue to see these ugly losses. Again, the tale of this season, fam, and will continue to be is, we fight hard on certain nights and we pull out, gut check, admirable wins, but the inconsistency, the shortcomings of the roster and the coach are going to breed a lot of these kind of performances as well. So, do I think we'll still stick around 500? Quite possibly. But I'm less optimistic after tonight for a 6, 7, 8 seed finish. It's probably going to be more of a 9 or 10 seed if we're lucky with this situation. Because again, if we can't take care of a Blazers team at MSG that's short-handed, what's going to happen when we stop getting these lucky breaks, with these stars as well, with that situation? Also, how many days rest did this team have? Yes, it was a grueling road trip. Coming back to MSG, the day after Thanksgiving, you're usually a bit heavy, so to speak. But you got up by 14 points, so there's absolutely no excuses, for this team tonight, right? Getting up, so much, right? Victor Hutchback in the chat, salute from Knicks fans Brazil. Appreciate you, fam. Victor says Brunson is playing at a very high level. Yep. Yep, we'll give out his flowers as well. Like I said, just getting my thoughts out. We'll talk about some of the positives tonight, rest assured. but we got to be realistic about what we're seeing, tonight. Um, you know, talent like Jeremy Grant and Anthony Simons and a bunch of nice role players as well was enough to beat the Knicks on the road tonight. So yeah, it was, in my view, a shameful loss, with this situation tonight. Yep. Like Victor says as well, real recognize real. Victor, yeah, I pinpointed that point of the game when the Knicks lost it. We was up 14 and we looked like the superior team, but then the huge swing in momentums with this team continues to happen. We just can't hold on to leads and we can't finish teams off as well. What do I contribute that to? I contribute that to the schemes first and foremost. Victor, we're not playing to this team's strength. The team's very limited, and you can't afford to get fancy with a limited team. You've got to play to its maximum strength in order to suck the most you can out of the team. With that said, and that is like what we saw tonight, when Jalen Brunson is isolating, that's our best chance at a good offensive bucket, you know. Yep, with that situation, right? Um, And it is concerning, even you're up 14, it's a very short-handed Portland team, like I said, at MSG as well. So it's like this team can't thrive, when everything's going for it. It's like we need to be on the road with our backs to the wall to actually thrive and give some effort, which is so wacky. It breeds of how inconsistent this team and roster and coach and everything is right now as well with that situation. It's going to be a fascinating few days coming up. We'll preview the road ahead and the next matchup, in at MSG against Memphis. Looks like Ja Morant is going to be back healthy for that game, so that's going to be crazy. We know that's going to be a preview of the opening night loss in Memphis, right? We're trying to get revenge again. Yeah, Cash Out says Tibbs tries to make all players fit into his system, a 1990s system, rather than create a system to utilize your players' strengths, right? Say that again, man. Cash Out. You're absolutely on fire with this situation. We needed you in the game today because you're hitting nothing but net with that situation as well. Um, and I've said it again. I'm not no Tibbs basher. The guy can coach an NBA team, but is he the right fit for this team right now? You know, like I said, he needs a complete veteran roster full of stars to get the most out of it. And yes, it's a clunky roster, and yes, it's not perfect by any means. But what is he doing to adapt, to that roster and that situation, right? He's putting an awful lot of trust into players that have been very, very inconsistent their whole career. RJ Barrett, Julius Randle, two of the most inconsistent players in the NBA from their best and their worst. Was Jalen Brunson every single night. So wouldn't you want to go to that? Wouldn't you want to go back and back and back to that guy that's getting you those buckets and dominating and handling his business? But then you allow a system where it's read and react, and on games where Brunson has it going, RJ and Randall get more shots than him. Right, that makes absolutely zero sense. With that, D Crown, salute, shout out. How are we feeling out here? Join the conversation. It's going to be a spicy show, and I enjoy rocking out with you all. Like I said, hope everybody had a lovely Thanksgiving as well. But we're looking forward now. This NBA season, as we head to Christmas Day, is going to be amplified now that players can be moved, around the league soon as well. But yeah, I'm just calling it like I see it, right? I don't rock with no specific player. I rock with the New York Knicks and I rock with Knicks Nation as well. I don't rock with a particular coach. I just call it like I see it. And with this situation, the team is just too inconsistent. There's too many swings within games, from game to game, and all of that. And I know this team was predicted to be about a 500 team. That's a good point, but that doesn't mean that your best and your worst should be that far apart. Right? It's maddening, right? If you're good enough to beat some of these teams on the road, that means you're a team that can do better on a consistent basis. I believe, when the right buttons are pushed. when the right buttons are pushed. And before we start to give out grades, ladies and gentlemen, what are some killers from tonight? Okay, what that I would have changed. You know, I definitely would have brought Emmanuel quickly in sooner as well. There's no excuse for him sitting that long when Portland started to take that lead, started to erase things. He was one of the hottest players on the court for the New York Knicks as well. Yep, with that situation, that needed to happen ASAP. Jericho Sims needed to come on sooner. Um, Isaiah Hartenstein, probably his worst performance as a New York Knick as well. There's talk that he's suffering from an inflamed Achilles injury, which is no reason to doubt that if he's come out and said that. But yeah, if he's not 100%, then limit his minutes, right? Jericho Sims has done everything and more to earn more minutes. And we saw it tonight. He was a game changer when he came in. I think he just came in 5 minutes too late, right? Because he was helping us. He was disruptive. He was rebounding. He was defending well, moving his feet. And I really think if Jericho Sims entered the game sooner, then it would have been good for the New York Knicks. Yep, absolutely. D Crown. Yep, they just need to fire Tibbs, just not the guy. And after tonight's horrible loss as well, to me, for me personally, the seat gets warmer again for Tibbs with some of these home losses. Nothing like bad home losses, to increase the pressure. Yeah, I would not be surprised if Tibbs is gone by the end of this year, this calendar year as well. With this situation, the front office has got their own issues, right? Evan Fournier, DNP CDs in just his second year as a New York Knick, earning $18 million. Ladies and gentlemen, how does that look around the league right now for Leon Rose as well? A lot of these contracts are bad. Now he's done well finding some value signings in Sims, McBride, Grimes, but believe in them. You should have given them minutes from the get-go. Giving Evan Fournier $18 million the year that you drafted Quentin Grimes, and Quentin Grimes is your starter, and Evan Fournier is the one DNPing, CDing. I mean, that's eye-opening, basically. So the guy you drafted is the guy you're rocking with now, and the guy you gave $18 million isn't playing for you anymore. So how does that look, baby? I mean, we're not fools around here as well. The hot seat is increasing on everybody out here. Yep, and then you're talking about the X's and O's, like Cash Out says the ball just moves so much better when Randall is not on the floor. Yep, as well. He's a throwback to the '90s. Julius Randle would be an all-star still in the '90s. I feel like because he's bully ball, he's big, he can shoot a bit. But in this era, he belongs with Tibbs. In the dinosaur age, does Julius Randle if he's not being used well? I mean, he's not that kind of guy that should be doing heat check pull-up threes in transition in an overtime tough clutch situation. I mean, it just it actually matches and lines up with all of the media and all the guests, beat writers that have come on the show and talked to us and EJ and myself about how much Randall really wants to be that guy. You know, Part of last year and Randall's struggles was because he was coming to terms with the fact that he wasn't really that guy that like he was the year before. And that can hurt a player. These players have egos. You're an all-star, all NBA, most improved one year, and then you're trash the next year. Basically, that hurt Randall. And I think psychologically, Randall still wants to be that guy. And you saw it in the play tonight, right? Who the hell pulls up from three like that? Unless you're a guard for that situation. Even if that was a Quickly or a Grimes or an RJ or a Brunson, don't matter who shot that shot, I still would have said it was a bad shot. But let alone Julius Randle, ladies and gentlemen, as well. And then, yeah, the clunky fit, like D Crown says, they can't play Randle and RJ in the same lineup, right? Because they're both lefties. They both clog the paint. They're both one dimensional. Well, it's not a modern NBA roster and situation with that. And also, for their shortcomings on offense, you could cuss them out on defense as well. Um, if those players earning those salaries, which they're both earning, aren't giving you elite play on offense, but a negative on defense. I mean, get them off of here. That kind of situation. Sit them down because we can't afford that. You could put 5 players out there that'll give max effort each and every night. Yep. Facts, D Crown. Yep. Absolutely. This ain't an overreaction tonight. We've seen this movie again and again and again, right? This is like Fast and Furious number 10. We've seen 10 of these movies before as well. So we've seen enough of a sample size to see just what's not working, right? And we watch it unfold each and every night again and again. Um, I was even saying on so many shows before tonight that we'll see games that will be up 11, we'll be down 5. There'll be games where we'll be down 6, then we'll be up 11. It just crazy swings right now. We can't find that consistency right now. Mitchell Robinson in foul trouble again. Isaiah Hartenstein struggling as well. And it's time to give out some grades, and chop up, the individual play. Then we'll look at the road ahead, and what's coming up, fam. Salute Knicks Nation. Yep. So there we have it. The box score up there as well. Yeah, like I said, the Knicks were flowing, looked great early on, but there was thoughts going into my mind that I'm like, okay, like this is the critical stage of this game. Are we going to push ahead with a 14-point lead and make it a 25-point lead, or are we just going to let them back in the game? And and yeah, that's exactly what we did. We just let them straight back in the game with that. Why Tibbs take that second unit out yet when they were balling as well? Yep, another great point. D Crown, feel for the game. Yep, that's critical. To be a great coach, you've got to have feel for the game. It's very much template coaching with Tibbs. Oh, it's time to, my alarm's going off. It's time to bring these guys back in the game. Just completely ignore what was going on in the game. From the get go. Yep. Yeah, Cash Out says, honestly think Randall can be a borderline all-star if he was used the right way. Well, Randall's got talent, right? Absolutely. Randall's has got talent. His flaws just get in the way when he's not coached the right way as well. No other NBA franchise trying to win would give Julius the kind of autonomy and leeway that he gets on this team, right? If it was a coach Popovich, a coach Kerr, anyone like that would rein him in some more as well. Because realistically, if you're trying to win, you should know Julius Randle is nothing more than a third best option on a winning team. Right now, we're asking him to be the second best option, unfortunately. Uh, we really, really would have hoped that RJ had rose up and become that second option, in his 4th year this season, but it hasn't happened. So that Julius is still that second best offensive option, and we're going to see this from night to night. You know, um, as good as Brunson is, he can't shoot the rock every single possession. He needs some help, um, and that's where I said I wanted to see the Knicks play more pick and roll, get Julius downhill, get him away from jump shooting, and too much post up isolation. Yep, that situation. And we saw a modern wing forward with Jeremy Grant tonight. Salute to him. He absolutely balled out, fam, at MSG. Put that on the list of another player to have a career night, a ball out at MSG. A career highlight type game. And of course it was Josh Hart tonight that I think smashed his rebounding record. A shooting guard pulling in 19 rebounds. Yep, was horrible. Um, and the last note I'll make before we give out the grades, and this is sort of just away from the X's and O's, but it's something I'll pile on top, which is heart, fight, energy, effort, all of those things. We shouldn't be questioning these things on a nightly basis because it's free. You don't even need talent to give that. And we don't see this team protect home court enough. Get aggro, get gritty, get tough. All of those things. You should be not letting Josh Hart pull in that many rebounds. That's just heart, energy, effort, all of that. He just wanted it as well. So yeah, these guys come into MSG, they want to have a career night, and it just keeps happening, right? It just keeps happening again and again and again for that situation. Yeah, we got Detroit coming up, fam, and the rumor mill's gonna increase, the buzz is gonna grow with this situation with Tibbs and with the season ahead. Yep. And Victor asked a great question. With this situation with IQ now, ladies and gentlemen, it's fitting that I saw IQ really, really have his head in tonight's game. He balled out because the Portland Trailblazers are one team that I feel like would have serious interest in IQ. Look at their bench tonight. IQ coming off their bench, backing up Dame and Anthony would be really, really nice for them. Now, how serious are the Knicks considering that? I think it's legit. Um, I don't think the Knicks would just give Quick away for anything less than what they want. I think they want a decent first round pick, maybe another young player thrown in. Um, with that, maybe a first round pick and a couple of seconds. You know, I think Quick's game tonight will help that case as well. There's absolutely no need to throw Quick away, trade him away at all, unless it's a deal that it's too good to refuse kind of situation. Um, on a team that lacks modern talent, I think Quickly is short for a lead guard, but the fact that he can shoot from deep, the fact that he can defend the perimeter and defend well, he's a good character guy. That's a player you want to keep around, I think, for the future. It's adaptable, he's smart, he's a worker, he's a good teammate as well. Moving ahead on this team, they're the kind of players that you want to keep around, in my opinion. So I do feel like it's more salary driven. Any thoughts about trading IQ? I think it's to do with his contract and just the Knicks considering how many guys can they pay. They've given out a lot of questionable to bad contracts that are currently on this roster, and I feel like um, any trade for Quick might just be them wanting to just reset that timeline again and not having to pay him. Yep, with that situation. But yeah, let's watch and see what happens. If it's me, I hold on to Quick. I hold on to him for this season. I continue to see what he looks like throughout the rest of the season. Right. So we'll go through this quicker, but we've got to give out our grades for each player as well. Highlight our thoughts, disappointments, and give out some flowers to those that had a good game. Julius Randle, obviously in overtime, reached 39 minutes. We'll start with him. 8 of 19, and he was 3 of 6, 4 of 4 with that situation. 6 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 steals, 2 turnovers, 4 personal fouls, and a whopping minus 17. Right. So to me, that's the story of Julius Randle, I think, in his career right now. To be minus 17 and to be giving you all of those stats, right? That's a situation where those stats aren't leading to wins. Now, it's a team sport, but Julius Randle is a leader on this team, or supposed to be one of the highest paid players as well. They look to him to help them win. Um, it's simple, we don't have a whole lot of talent on this team. Again, when Julius is clicking on offense, what is he doing on defense? He had a couple of nice plays. I salute the 3 steals. He picked some pockets as well. Wasn't one of his worst performances defensively. He just wasn't good. Was switching. I don't know if that was a directive from Tibbs, but yeah, the fact that he was switching on their best players down the stretch. I was watching at home and I'm just thinking like, you know, I don't know if this can end well. I don't think this is going to end well at all, ladies and gentlemen, with Julius Randle switching. Right, that cash out gives Randle a C. Well, I'll probably give him a C plus for tonight. But again, yeah, um, that heat check 3 definitely hurt this team, and gifted this win, I think, to Portland as well. In overtime, you don't have a whole lot of time to come back. Right, every single possession matters with this situation. Yeah, salute Kaiser Soze 718. Salute. We need the offensive minded coach up in here as well. Yep. just different schemes. Yep, that can help this team, function to its best of its ability right now. And I'll also say this: I don't blame everything on Tibbs. Like if Leon brought Tibbs in, right? Was his guy. Well, you can't really say Leon's done Tibbs any favors. Like what players has he really brought in? But at the same time, Tibbs is also digging his own grave as well. So what I mean by that is it ain't 100% Tibbs's fault, but he ain't helping his case. Basically, if and when he gets fired, it'll be Tibbs's fault. But also Leon Rose hasn't done him any solid as well. Hasn't got him that all-star, hasn't got him that star free agent, um, got him Jalen Brunson, but that's where Tibbs is now failing as well. He's failing to utilize this team, to its best of ability, with JB. I mean, we've seen how good JB is, right? This team can have so many different looks on offense, right? Randall and Barrett don't need to touch the ball as much as they do on offense. They should be more of a secondary, third options, and decoys with that situation down the stretch. Obviously, throughout the game, they get a little bit more touches. Then you need to tighten it up, right? And and again, back to Tibbs and Randall, accountability. Like, I really, really wonder what was said after Randall's heat check three, right? If Tom Thibodeau wants a future in New York, you're digging your own grave, right? You can't gloss over that fact that Julius Randle was allowed to shoot that shot. It's just not a good shot at all. Um, and I say accountability because if that was Grimes, if that was Quickly, if that was Obi, they would have been yanked probably after a shot like that. But Julius Randle was continuing to do what he do, right? Yep. Cash out to CT. We can all agree that the Randle RJ experiment isn't going to work. Yep. Yep. Facts. Right. And if and when Tibbs gets fired, I do think Leon Rose is going to stick around. If he's a smart man, which I think he can learn from some mistakes. He's been a businessman long enough. If he's a good talent evaluator, he needs to act quick in this situation, right? Uh, Otherwise, he deserves to be fired as well, as an executive, right? We've seen enough sample size now. This ain't a one night thing. This ain't a one night stand situation. We've had years of an experiment with RJ and Randall. Yeah, as well as with this coach as well. What's changed? Really, what's changed? It's early in the season, and definitely we look better this season with Jalen Brunson. We're one game below 500. That's solid still in terms of what this team's achieved early on. But if you look at some of these losses, they've been absolutely abysmal losses. Yep. Kaiser did say, yeah, ship Randall out, captain of that ship, and then you see, and then if you don't see improvement in RJ, then you look at other things. That situation, yep. And there's no better time with Randall. I feel coming up to this trade period, Randall's definitely improved his stock from last season now. There's less aggro, less dysfunction, all of that. His box score looks decent. I mean, please, a team, step right up and just take on the contract. Give us a first round pick, something like that. Help a contender out. Hans, salute. Yeah, there was rumors about the Heat. I think that's a team because their record, they're struggling, fam. But I feel like there's going to be suitors. Rest assured, right? This is going to be a season that's very, very tight. Heading into the post All Star break, teams trying to jockey, get ahead of the game, and things like that. And then also we keep saying it's about fit. It ain't 100% about Julius Randle. It's about fit. On this team, where we're a team in rebuild mode, essentially, and his purpose on this team is getting less and less by the day, and his role on a winning team can still be great, can be profound. I mean, Julius Randle in this NBA, he can demand a double team. He can move the rock when he wants to. He can still shoot the three. He can do a lot of things to help teams, just as a second, third, fourth option on this team, on those teams, for that situation, right? So yeah, frustrations night for Randall. He kept the turnovers down, but it's more about his fit into the offense, holding it down. When things are flowing, they just seem to stop when Julius, handles the ball a lot more. The most effective ways that Randall scores is in the deep post kind of situation, or the long mid range, the long three kind of thing. They're not high efficiency, and it slows the offense down. You know, things come to a grinding halt with that situation, as well as he's prone to make poorer decisions. When he does have the ball. And I referenced two classic plays that could have that could have swung tonight's game. One was, he was backing his man down as well. The soft double was coming, and he dribbled about 6, 7, 8 times before he finally passed the ball to Quentin Grimes as well. It was just too late. And the other one, of course, was the deep pull up three in that situation. So Randall's more of a throwback back to the 90s, which he would have thrived. I really feel like. Um, but yeah, reasonably efficient night for Randall. It was just the decision making down the stretch, that hurt us, right? So let's move on. Let's talk about Mitch. 23 minutes, got in foul trouble, like you see. He was 8 of 7, but he missed 2 critical free throws. I mean, again, with Mitchell Robinson, we know his weakness, the free throw shooting. He'd made some improvement. I just don't know what went wrong with that situation. 2 of the most ugly free throws you've ever seen off the front of the rim, right? Um, it should be 101 in free throw practice that your shot should have some arc on it, right? Not flat line drive, and shouldn't be clanking right into the front of the rim. So I mean, it was like watching a car crash with that situation. Chat, Streets is buzzing, Streets Nation. Tell me what was going through your mind when we saw Mitch at the line. They're shooting those free throws. I mean, positive vibes wasn't going through my mind at that point, especially after the first one. And I was willing on for him. I was rooting for him as well. But it's just something about Mitch's shot that just doesn't look like it's improved from the line. Same action. Well, no arc on the shot as well. But 5 offensive rebounds, so salute for that. 2 blocks as well. Tried his hardest as well. Definitely our best defensive center around the rim. +7, 12 points. So in his 23 minutes, very much impacts the game. Does Mitchell Robinson, as much as he's one-dimensional, it's a great dimension. When it's clicking and he's not in foul trouble. But unfortunately tonight, he was in foul trouble um, with that situation as well. So I'll give Mitch also a C plus, for tonight. Um, Shortcomings came home with the free throws as well. Probably would have bumped that up to a B if he hit those 2 free throws as well. Which, given how close the game got, really would have given the Knicks that extra chance. I feel like tonight. Um, Another guy that got paid a contract is still impacting winning, impacting games, but maybe not as much as you hope for what he's getting paid right now. Very interesting. The fact that Jericho Sims is now on the come up as well. So watch this space. Mitchell Robinson been in and out of the lineup a little bit. Great to see him back healthy. Great to see him back healthy, and great to see him in the plus tonight, +7. But of course, it was limited minutes. 23 minutes. Yep, with that situation. Kaiser says the Nets, Bulls, and Heat are behind us right now. Absolutely. Are we better than any of those teams? I think we finished like 12th in the East right now. Yeah, one could imagine that those teams are definitely going to make their runs, fam. And I really feel like the Knicks stretch is going to set up their season. Yep. Or it's definitely going to breed some extra trades or moves, coming up. And we'll look at that at the road ahead. But let's give JB his flowers now as well, like we have all season long. The team's real leader, a player that's going to be here for the future. Makes you feel good if the Knicks can pull off some great moves and bring in an all-star player to play alongside him. The Knicks have got something with Jalen Brunson as well. Modern and throwback kind of player with toughness, but some flash, some finesse. as well. And that's the word that comes to my mind. When you think of what Randall and RJ Barrett lack, it's finesse, touch around the bucket, those kind of things. They've got stone hands in a way, whereas Jalen Brunson has got a feathery touch, basically. One of the most efficient players in the league and around the bucket as well. Um, just crazy skill set that Brunson has. Even at 6'1", he's a more efficient offensive player than those players that are absolute bullies. Um, RJ Barrett and Randall are players that have relied on their size, their physical size and and tools throughout their whole life. They're used to just bullying dudes at all levels of the game. But when you get to the NBA, you can no longer just bully people anymore. And I think that's what we're seeing. You know, you need finesse, feathery touch, and a skill set. Um, and it's just like Randall and RJ Barrett still feel like their best go-to move is to bully their way in. Um, whereas you see the stark difference with Jalen Brunson, and that's a player with a clear skill set, with a touch that's soft around the bucket, a high IQ as well, and just efficient player. I mean, as New York Knicks fans, we just loved watching an, a baller, a baller that's tough and a baller that's efficient as well. In 41 minutes as well, he must be exhausted. 10 of 22, 3 of 8, all 9 free throws were hit as well. Pulled in 5 rebounds, got 4 assists, 1 turnover only, 5 personal fouls, was a -5, 32 buckets. Now for Jalen Brunson. Now, rest assured, if the Knicks had won tonight, it would have been firmly on the shoulders of Jalen Brunson. Isolating in overtime, crazy move to back down Josh Hart as well. A salute that move. That had Twitter buzzing, the streets buzzing. Jalen Brunson's been the Knicks' best player by a mile this season. He continues to live up to the contract, exceed the contract in some ways. Um, right now, he's doing a role. He's needing to score a lot. I think Jalen Brunson could definitely get more assists. A lot of these players are just clanking it. Um, if you think about it, I think Brunson would have had probably 7 assists tonight instead of 4. If players didn't miss with that situation. So it's been a great first season for Brunson so far as well. He gets a complete A for me tonight as well. Like I said, almost won us the ball game. Yep. Cash outs on the money. Brunson deserves better. Yep. Now, does he start to second guess himself when he passes the ball? Right. He needs help. Now, does he start to second guess? Should I shoot more? Should I give up the rock? Or do I, at these moments of the games, do I just need to just be Jalen Brunson? So that's going to be interesting. He's a winner. I think like he'll always revert to make the winning play. But I think as this season goes along, maybe if the record starts to spiral, Jalen Brunson's usage goes up even more as well. We know what Tom Thibodeau's like when he has that lead guard, like a D Rose. He's going to ride him all the way to the finish line for that situation. Um, Not going to talk about Brunson's durability because I don't want to jinx nothing. But yeah, he's been super durable, and let's hope everything continues the way it is with Brunson's health and efficient from the line. It's like he's shooting 90% from the line as well, and like I mentioned, that feathery touch. Yep, absolutely. Not a lot's going to change, fam. Yep, we're only 19 games in, but we've seen a little bit of everything in these 19 games, enough to think that it's going to be the same. Not a lot's going to change. It's going to be ups and downs. We're going to claw our way to great wins, and we're also going to have capitulations as well. So yeah, we gave out an A for Jalen Brunson. He's had the most A's out of any player this season. So I salute him. Salute to Brunson, Team Brunson out here as well. Um, you just see how hard he plays on this team. First season in, continue to be that leader on the floor, and mount that all-star case. ladies and gentlemen. Absolutely, Jalen Brunson. If the Knicks can squeak into the play-in playoff situation, Jalen Brunson will be considered as an all-star. I mean, the league was watching tonight. I saw a lot of national comments and tweets out there. You know, when the game was deep in OT, when Brunson was pulling out big buckets as well. Um, Now, again, like tonight, what would have won the Knicks the game? I really feel like he should have got more looks down the stretch. Yeah, with that situation, right? He was feeling it. He was in a groove. Just why not let that continue as well? Um, all of that situation. And I also want to start to see him hold Randall accountable for horrific shot selection as well. Someone's got to get on Randall. I mean, again, you can't just allow players to do that, you know, in those situations, right? That heat check was just not cool, right? So let's look ahead to RJ Barrett's crazy performance tonight. 44 minutes was a horrible 6 of 22 and 1 of 7 from three-point land, 6 of 8 from the line. Got himself 10 rebounds, 5 assists. So that was the best part of RJ's game tonight. Rebounding and assists. Was a -6, 3 personal fouls, and 19 points. Now the crazy inefficiency again from RJ tonight. He was fumbling, stumbling, bumbling in the first two and a half, 3 quarters as well. He started to pick things up. Um, that great drive in transition where he went all the way as well. That was a nice sigh of relief. But yeah, RJ Barrett's in a huge funk still, rest assured. A lot of people on him throughout this game, and rightfully so. He was ugly tonight. Again, we can't afford our lead wing, shooting guard, small forward to shoot 6 of 22 and expect to win the ball game. Right? That just puts huge pressure on everybody else with that situation. And how many times can we say, yeah, he's in a funk, he's slow, he's building, all of those kind of things. The truth is we got to evaluate right now. We got to evaluate the player, the professional ball player earning their contract from game to game right now. And he's just inefficient basically every single night as well. He's shooting and he's scoring at times, but with high volume as well. And then when you look at a player like Jalen Brunson on your team, and that's what I get back to as a coach, I'm like, who do you want shooting shots? Like, let's look at the attempts, right? Jalen Brunson with 22 attempts tonight, and RJ Barrett with 22 attempts. I mean, if you're the head coach of this team, who do you want shooting 22 attempts? You know, with that situation. So again, I want Brunson to start being more selfish with this situation. Otherwise, this team's not going to be able to pull these games out, right? So I'm going to give Bully Barrett a D plus, for tonight. Probably would have been an F, but he pulled some things out down the stretch. But yeah, a D plus, yeah, for Barrett tonight. Now Quentin Grimes played 30 minutes, got the start. He was 3 of 6, missed 4 3-pointers, 1 of 4, but got 5 rebounds, 5 assists, which was nice, -4, 5 fouls, 7 points, and got a block as well. Um, Out of probably the last 3 games, probably Quentin Grimes' worst game, but he wasn't bad. You want to see these 3-point balls start to fall, but the 5 assists was great for Quentin Grimes, finding his man. Again, his vision on the court, feel for the game, defensively, all of that was on point. Unfortunately, tonight, foul trouble hurt Quentin Grimes a lot. Um, I would have liked to think that Grimes maybe would have played 38 minutes, you know, tonight if he didn't get into that foul trouble early with that situation. And again, that was the refs. That was horrible situation with the refs today, and the bad calls with that situation. Um, the disparity tonight was just ridiculous. Keeping it in a buck, and yes, some of the fouls were there for Jeremy Grant because he was faster than his opponent and bigger with the mismatches. But there should not have been that much disparity. I mean, RJ was getting hit, Brunson was getting hit as well. There was a couple times Randall got hit as well and no call. So they were letting physicality go on our end, but on the other end, they were calling us for every single foul. So I'll give Quentin Grimes a B minus for tonight. Um, again, steady play. Again, nothing that's going to bust the game open at this point in time. He's still getting into a groove. Tonight, we really miss Cam Reddish's size, I think, in terms of the matchups. Like, he would have been a great matchup for Jeremy Grant with that situation. I would have loved to see that, um, ladies and gentlemen. So, yeah, what are your thoughts on that? With Cam Reddish out tonight, we really missed that opportunity. But yeah, I really feel like Grimes would have played more minutes tonight, and I would have liked to see him shoot more attempts. To be honest with you, 6 attempts in 30 minutes. Um, that's not letting the rock flow. That's not ball movement. I'm sorry. A shooting guard playing 30 minutes, getting 6 shots. That's not enough. Especially one of your best shooters on this team, and the other team was playing zone as well. So yeah, again, it reeks of a poor system. This read and react offense with players that aren't smart, players with tendencies to hold the ball too long, tunnel vision, not moving the ball, not letting it free flow with that situation, and we see that we see players not get into a rhythm, and players get into a funk. Yeah, with that situation. So let's look at the bench lineup tonight. We'll give out our flowers to Emmanuel Quickly, first and foremost. 32 minutes tonight did Quick. Shot 6 of 17, but 4 of 10 from 3-pointers. So that was great. Emmanuel Quickly was on fire, basically, at points of this game, was hitting him from deep, was confident, letting it fly. Um, Unfortunately, the backbreaker was that one late in the corner, falling out of bounds as well. He didn't quite get his balance. Shot that 3-point ball, hit the side of the backboard, and that was toast after that. So, in terms of improvement areas for IQ, there are things I want him to focus on. Sometimes he gets too trigger happy. Yes, he's a scorer. Yes, we love that part of his game. He can light things up quickly, but for him to be a great player in this league and for him to become consistent, you want to see Emmanuel Quickly just slow down, just that little bit, slow down, um, rush of blood to the head a lot, lets the shot fly too fast sometimes. With that situation, doesn't get his balance, um, and that is ultimately the limitation of Quickly. If I'm keeping it a buck, he's 6'3". Um, I keep saying this about Quentin Grimes because he has all the tools, but if Quentin Grimes was 6'7", he'd have star potential. And I could say the same thing about Emmanuel Quickly, but unfortunately, these guys look like they're just going to be role players. But if Emmanuel Quickly was 6'5", 6'6", then he could become a star potentially. But I do think being 6'3" is going to hold him back eventually. He's in between. Point guard, shooting guard. He's just too small for that situation as well. He shoots really well when he's got his feet set and he can shoot from deep. But coming off the curl with movement and the mid range, the fadeaway, Quickly just doesn't have that. Doesn't have that in his arsenal. Doesn't have that touch. It's the deep three or the floater. Solid defender. I salute him for that side of the thing with Quick as well. If I'm being honest, what his value really is um, on this team, I'd love to see Quick stick around. But if the Knicks can get a first round pick in a couple seconds or a first round pick and another young player, I really feel like the Knicks should seriously consider it. I'm not saying I would pull the trigger. It's obviously dependent on getting as much as you possibly can with that situation. But with Jalen Brunson here, with RJ Barrett getting paid, I really feel like it's just a business decision more than anything as well. And it depends what your belief in terms of what Quickly can become. How high do you feel like his ceiling is? And like I just said, I feel like being 6'3" is going to limit his ceiling with that situation. A great player off the bench, a nice spark. With that, does he ultimately end up a starter and a starter on the New York Knicks? No. I don't see that. I don't see that happening with Brunson. And again, you want a larger backcourt. Yeah, in my opinion, you got Brunson who's 6'1" as well. I want to pair a large shooting guard next to him and an even larger small forward um, with that situation. But I'm happy Quick's getting a bigger role with us in Rose's absence. Um, he's becoming more consistent over the last 3-4 games as well. The shot's starting to fall now, which is great. I'm not in a hurry to trade him whatsoever. You know, let a bidding war happen. And I only move him if it makes sense. Yeah, if it makes sense with that. So tonight I'll give IQ a B plus with that situation. He had it going as well. 17 shot attempts as well. So salute Quick. Now, yeah, Kaiser says I had this argument about Jeremy Grant being better than Randall a couple of times because he's more of a versatile player. Yep, kind of thing. Yeah, I could see that. Yep, I could see that. It's close. I think Randall's more of that go-to guy, but Jeremy Grant's got that versatility. Absolutely. Now, let's give a grade out to Jericho Sims. Yep, staying on the positive side of things. 13 minutes tonight. Again, should have got on the floor a lot sooner. Should Jericho. Inexcusable with that situation. And that goes back to Tibbs' feel for the game. I know. There's no way Hartenstein was absolutely struggling at that, in that point of the game as well. And Jericho's been doing so well recently. The trust is there. You should have brought him on. And again, in the end, it was just too late. What happened when Jericho got on? He got a couple of blocks straight away. I think it was 2 blocks in one play alone. His second efforts are amazing, and his second leap is amazing as well. He had that and one that had the garden, had all of us lit at that point. He's so strong. He finished with a hard foul, and I hit the free throw, nothing but net as well. So polar opposites of what you're seeing with Mitch at the line. One's clanking it, and one was shooting swishes with that situation, and helping the Knicks out, blocking shots as well, um, setting great screens. The defense was there. He's learning to be in the better positions as well. So they are doing a good job developing Jericho Sims, from what I'm seeing. I shout out whoever's had a hand in the development of Jericho, because he's really coming along, which is exciting for this team moving ahead, especially on the contract he's on. Yeah, and no doubt people around the league will be looking at Jericho like, man, is he the third string guy? He's the third string center. Let let us try to nab that. He can help us, right? I really feel like if Sims' role doesn't get bigger, other teams around the league are going to be calling the New York Knicks. Best believe that, right? He could be had for cheap, um, especially maybe a throw in a larger deal as well. I know what a lot of people are thinking. It's get rid of Hartenstein, get rid of Hartenstein's 8 mil, and just elevate Sims, which is what I'd be seriously considering as well. We need to find minutes for him. We need to find him a role on this team, right? He should have played 20 plus minutes tonight. Again, so active, good size, good speed, rebounds well. Is starting to block shots now as well, score a little bit. I mean, yeah, we're seeing great development from Jericho. B plus from him tonight. Yep, B plus in his minutes, fam, which was great to see. Now, let's talk about some of the more negative situation with Isaiah. 17 minutes, 2 of 3, 2 of 2 from the line, just 2 rebounds, 2 steals, 3 fouls, minus 6 points, right? That was absolutely exposing him, torching him. If the talk that his Achilles is inflamed, hurting his movement, then sit him down for a few games, fam. That's the best move right now. Play Jericho. Yep. With that situation, I love that. And you get the best of both worlds. with that situation. So, I've been saying early in the season, Isaiah's given us a lot of heart, effort, energy, and that's been mostly true. But however, recently his shortcomings have hurt this team defensively. There's no doubt about it. Um, Softer on the rebounds, foul prone as well. We're not seeing his strengths in full effect either. We're not seeing him pop the deep three. We're not seeing him on offense at all, really. And right now, as of this moment, Jericho Sims has absolutely surpassed Isaiah Hartenstein's productivity. Um, and especially even the passing side of Isaiah's game ain't there, right now. We need to see more from him, from what he's given us. He's inconsistent defensively, and he ain't given us a whole lot offensively, like we saw tonight, right? Hartenstein's, 6 points in 17 minutes. Sims gave you 5 points in 13 minutes, and he gave you 2 blocks that Isaiah didn't have as well, and he out-rebounded him. Got the same level of rebounds as well. So yeah, I know who I'd have ahead of the pecking order, with that situation, right? Ladies and gentlemen. Baby up. Yeah, with that situation. Okay. Just bear with me, or I'm not getting the chat load up on the back end. So I'm just going to be shouting it out from the YouTube side of it, ladies and gents. But yeah, we're all seeing some love from Sims. Yeah, Cash Out gives B+ for Sims. Salute. Yep, agree. He's hitting his free throws as well. Shout out. Kaiser says Hartenstein's is not ever going to be more than what he was in Denver. You see, Knicks always searching to copy what someone else has done, which means we're always late to the party as well. Yep, agree. And I said the same thing about Fournier and Grimes, right? Fournier, Grimes. Like again, you give one guy $18 million and you're playing the rookie. You're playing your drafted rookie ahead of that guy. So it's like Leon Rose, that's a whole nother show, which we'll talk about moving ahead. But you're giving money to these players that are veterans that aren't even outplaying the players that you believed in to draft, right? So, I mean, that's just the biggest highlight of how this front office can't pick a direction. That's right. You think that the veterans are going to help you win, that are outplaying these drafted rookies, but then a lot of these drafted players are outplaying all of your free agents, Hartenstein and Fournier, with Sims and Grimes. And you got Cam Reddish, who's been a bright spark this season as well, who you traded for as well. So have some belief in these draft picks, for crying out loud. Is it unfathomable to think that some talent you draft could be these players that you move forward with? I mean, who would have thought about that, right? Is that rocket science? You know what I mean? Draft picks can actually help you um, with that situation, right? Yep. And again, if you're not investing, like Kaiser says, in these young players, they'll want to skip up out of here soon, right? Like quickly. I've heard some talk, and this ain't confirmed or anything, but Quickly's side of his camp is, hoping for a large role for him and hoping to get his man paid, which is the name of the game, ladies and gentlemen. If Quickly's role didn't increase this year, let's say we was rocking with D Rose for 28 minutes, Quickly's agent would want him out of here as well. So maybe it's a two-way street. Obi's camp, no doubt, be watching the phones every single night, seeing this Randall play, wondering what's in store for their client, moving forward with this situation. NBA is a business. We play the games, but the human element to this is players and their futures and the business side of things as well. So yeah, the Knicks have got to do better and make more sense with their signings and the minutes distribution as well. Realistically, if we're playing for the play-in this season, we could compete for the play-in, letting these young players rock out, every single night. And let's hope that we're getting towards that point now with Sims getting in, with Grimes getting in, with Cam getting in. Let's hope, Fournier's, been ostracized now. Maybe these other veterans' roles diminish as well. Maybe Derrick Rose hardly plays much as well, when he's back, right? So I'll give Isaiah Hartenstein a C minus for tonight. Actually, I'll give him a D plus because he was getting absolutely toasted. A D plus. Now let's talk about Deuce McBride. Really happy he's getting an opportunity now too in Derrick Rose's absence, and that's exactly what I talked about just a minute ago. Players that you drafted, seeing what they've got on their rookie deals. Um, how do you know if they're going to be someone that can help you in your franchise moving forward if you don't give them a chance as well? So the word's called development with that. And these players are showing something in their limited minutes. You got tonight, Deuce played 12 minutes, but was 2 of 3, efficient as well. Got you 2 assists in 12 minutes, plus 3, 4 points. So, picks his man up, plays with pride, plays with effort, energy, hustle, all of those things. Yes, there's skill set shortages with Deuce, but I take that all day, every day. A player that wants to win, their will helps the team try to win. It's contagious, outrageous, all of that stuff. And Deuce McBride can affect winning, with that play, right? Limited minutes, getting an opportunity. Tonight, I'll give him a B with Deuce because, limited minutes, but had an impact on the game. You could see plus 3, 4 points, 2 of 3 in 12 minutes. So it ain't easy to come in, be that change of pace guy, get in dude's grill, and all of that thing, right? Like Cash Out says, have I ever seen Tibbs get mad at Randall? Never. Never, fam. Yep. I seen Popovich bench a Hall of Famer in Tim Duncan, and Duncan just take it. But Randall, I don't see that at all, and that should be Tibbs's downfall. It should be the front office's downfall if they let this continue. We need to let this organization run like a normal business and not just hand out family discounts kind of thing. So that's what it looks like at the moment. It's a family discount shop right now. It's who we can help out, who we can set up kind of thing, and no accountability, right? Salute Spree in the chat, giving out some criticism of RJ. RJ's got to go. He stinks. Bench him right now. Juan up in here. Salute. The fastest way to get talent is to tank. The Celtics did it. The Cavs did it as well. Minnesota did it. Memphis did it. Yep. You do it until you get it right. Yep. It's definitely the slower way, but it's more proven as well. And it ain't something that can lead you to success immediately. You've got to be patient doing it, right? That's something this front office, this organization hasn't been able to do for so long, ladies and gentlemen. So yeah, Deuce McBride, we gave him a solid B. Now Obi Toppin tonight, 14 minutes. So the minutes have gone down again, but tonight was more deserved. I think Obi just couldn't find his flow. 1 assist, 2 rebounds. Was a plus 14 though, which is crazy. 3 points with that situation. So that's one of the biggest surprises for me watching the whole game. Obi was a plus 14 in his 14 minutes. So maybe he was stiff to not play more as well. It didn't stand out to me as much. So guys, give me your thoughts. But what was the tale with Obi's 14 minutes and plus 14 play? Maybe that was that critical stretch of the game when the Knicks were thriving with that. But obviously a defensive matchup most likely with Jeremy going off, and these guys, maybe Tibbs just couldn't find the right moment to get Obi back in. But with that said, Obi's play is leveled off a bit with the shooting mostly. Again, I want to see him attack the closeout a bit more like he does with force. He usually gets fouled if he tries to. He's playing a little bit timid again, a little bit unselfish. I don't want him to just shoot the three ball. Again, I want him to attack the closeout, make some nice passes. Obi's he's capable of making great passes tonight. 1 assist, 2 rebounds as well for Obi, right? So I'll give him a C. Give Obi a C tonight. Actually, I'll bump that up to a C plus because of his positive play. But yeah, with that said, ladies and gentlemen, let's now keep the chat buzzing as well. Pop that like button and let's bring up the road ahead now, ladies and gentlemen, because we need to with that situation. Critical stretch coming up that you see on the screen now as well. We let unfathomable loss creep up tonight at the Garden. Could not believe it. No Dame time. You're kidding, right? You need to take care of these games, right? It was ugly. It was embarrassing. Lost tonight. Again, we just lack that effort, closing the game out, lack smart play with that situation. Now, things are only going to get tougher, ladies and gentlemen. We got Ja Morant and the Memphis Grizzlies coming in on Sunday. Then we're at Detroit versus Milwaukee at the Garden, then Dallas, Cleveland, Atlanta. So we're back home with some home cooking now, post Thanksgiving. Hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving. To shout out to Knicks Nation, everyone out here as well. Appreciate you all worldwide. But we're back at MSG now with this huge stretch. So 6 out of the next 7, basically. Or five out of the next 6 are at home, including tonight. 6 out of the 7 at MSG now. So this is a stretch that's really going to set the Knicks season up one way or the other. And I think the Memphis one's going to be tough, given tonight with Ja Morant healthy. I think the Knicks need more heroics from Jalen, Brunson, and other players to stand up to take that game, right? I'm just keeping it a buck with that. Detroit, we should go into Detroit, not taking anything for granted, but we do need to take care of that game, absolutely. But the Milwaukee, Dallas, Cleveland, Atlanta games, I mean, boy, does that get tough. Boy, does that get tough. With that situation, I could see the Knicks realistically going 2 out of the next 6, right? 2 to 3 out of the next 6, right? So hopefully they can split them, go 3-3 with that situation. I think the Knicks' best chance is that. I would pick the Detroit game. I would pick the Dallas game, and I think Atlanta as well. We definitely owe Atlanta one after that 23-point capitulation. So that's what I'm aiming for, ladies and gentlemen. The Detroit, Dallas, Atlanta game as well. Split that, and then you're still one game below 500, and then you're at Charlotte and versus a nice hot Sacramento at the moment. So yeah, things are being set up. Interestingly, for this trade period as well, this talk's going to continue. There's too many dudes needing bigger roles out of the rotation right now. The roster's clunky. There's players that aren't getting many minutes than what they should. Jericho Sims is an interesting piece, the 11th man that seems more like the odd man out. You would think Cam Reddish will come back in and replace Deuce McBride as well. Deuce go back to situational, but I really feel like Jericho Sims is that guy that's stiff, at the moment, right? Yeah, Kaiser says Obi's minutes be sprinkled in here and there. So how can you get in a rhythm like that as well? Yep. That's just another reason why I don't feel like he should be jump shooting as much, flesh out the rest of his game, play make, attack the closeouts, make nice passes, attack the hoop and get fouled. I mean, Obi's athleticism is second to none, right? He should seriously attack the closeout and make the player foul him, just like Jericho, jump over him as well. Speaking of jumping over, that play where RJ tried to jump over Yusuf Nurkic when he was like 6 feet away from the hoop was insane. I mean, that was just indicative, right? Tonight's play. Yeah, Spree showing his passion tonight. Yeah, appreciate you, Spree. RJ can't shoot, pass, can't defend, can't rebound, can't pass, can't do anything, anything right now. Yeah. I feel that frustration, fam. Yeah. He needs to get out of this funk. Um, but again, that's why I call out the coach too. Um, it's not always on the player as well. You know, RJ Barrett, we know has talent. Like you don't just forget how to play the game. You know, I will say that growing up, you know, he's been among the best in his age group growing up. Now this is the NBA, the best in the biz. But at the end of the day, the coach just ain't it right now for RJ Barrett. It's not helping. Julius isn't helping. So there's a lot of factors right now. Combine that with RJ's slow start. Um, but you got to get back to your strength, right, ladies and gentlemen? When your back is against the wall, what do? You go to what has worked for you in the past. You keep going back to that. Focus on getting to the cup, getting fouled. If you're RJ Barrett, the shot's just not falling right now. It looks even worse when you continue to shoot bricks. So, you know, develop a mid range, post him up, um, you know, keep getting fouled, whatever helps you get into a rhythm, take it to the cup, transition, all of those things. Even if he has to shoot less attempts to become more efficient. I mean, that's fine, RJ. You don't need to score 22 points a night to help the Knicks win. You know, 14 points on efficiency can help the Knicks, RJ, as well. So, but then at the end of the day, I don't want Randall taking more shots of his either, as well. I really want Jalen Brunson to shoot more shots. Salute, Will. Salute, salute, salute. Appreciate you all as well. I'm just shouting the comments out because I can't load them up on the back end at this point. But keep it coming, fam, ladies and gentlemen out here. Replay gang, salute. Streets are buzzing. Salute. Smash that like button. And we here, you know, it's going to be this crazy season continues. Inconsistency. Um, what I did want to talk about is I did tweet out. If you haven't followed us yet on Twitter at Knicks Buzz, drop a follow on Twitter if you're on. But I dropped a tweet yesterday, 2 days ago, with the current situation of where the Knicks Dallas pick sits. Um, now, obviously, tonight it's probably going to change, and I'll bring up Tankathon. But this tweet went viral, absolutely went buzzing, 50, 60,000 impressions. Must have hit a particular algorithm, and had Twitter absolutely buzzing. And I tweeted out that the Knicks' current Dallas-owned pick is currently sitting in pick 13 right now, ladies and gentlemen. Right now, it's moved to 14, but the Knicks pick, their own pick, has moved to 11, ladies and gentlemen. So that's an update for you tonight. The Knicks owned pick is at pick 11 selection right now. The Knicks Dallas owned selection is selection 14 right now. And the Knicks Washington owned selection is pick 16. So if the draft was tonight, it'd be 11, 14, and 16 in a crazy loaded, stacked generational draft. One of the best drafts in decades. No joke. So that could be the story of this season, ladies and gentlemen. We know the Knicks play in, playoffs, whatever it was going to be, we ain't winning. But the silver linings, you know, and a way that this front office can get this thing moving in the right direction is shed some of these pieces that aren't part of the future, with these obstacles getting in the way of these young players getting better, more development, selfish players that want to pad their stats situation, or even maybe for the right reasons. Maybe they just want to win every night and they're just not the right fit for this team right now. That's not ready to win. So for all of these reasons, this season could be a sliding door situation that opens up. Draft night, we know that the direction of this team is to try to use these picks to land a big star, and we look like we're far away from that situation. So it's all about what do we do on draft night, and what do we do with these picks, which is serious, getting serious right now. The Knicks' owned pick is 11. Dallas pick 14, Washington pick 16. Ladies and gentlemen, Andrizzi up in here. Mike, salute. Andrizzi says Knicks need to be in the top 5. They have no all-star talent. That's definitely a great way to pick up more talent. And I keep going back to how stacked this draft is right now. It's too early to pull up the mocks, but I mean, we just need to say that this draft is loaded. Just trust me. Trust us up in here. There's going to be all-star potential type talent, deep into the teens, mid-teens as well. We're seeing some great role players from the previous draft have an impact already. Namely Tari Eason, Benedict Mathurin, a lot of these players absolutely looking like studs, right? So imagine what's going to come out of this draft. It's a talent factory, basically. Now, the Knicks cannot mess this up, right? We cannot be no Kevin Knox's, Frank Ntilikina's situation. We need to make this year's draft count because it's absolutely poignant. These draft picks can't keep being recycled. Either you trade them and you bring in that bona fide number one, or you use these picks to get talent. Pick 11, pick 14, and pick 16. Now, talking about our pick first, chopping that up more. If the Knicks continue to try to make this play in, let's say we don't, the silver lining is our pick falls back into the lottery. So I guess whichever side you fit on, Knicks Nation, whether you want the Knicks to continue to win, get development, winning games, and making the play in, I don't hate you for that as well, because we all love to see the Knicks win. But if we make the play in, then we get valuable experience. If we don't make the play in, we fall back into the lottery. So our own pick could be pick 11 or better than that, ladies and gentlemen. So that's a spot where you can find some serious wing talent as well. Now, the tweet I sent out that went viral is the Dallas selection right now. And I wanted to talk a little bit deeper about that. Cast your minds back to the KP trade, ladies and gentlemen. It seems like forever and a year ago that the Knicks did that trade for KP. The Knicks got clowned. And the trade was widely looked at as cap space. What did the Knicks do? They traded KP for cap space. They didn't get KD. They didn't get Kyrie. They got Dallas's pick. That Luka and Dallas are going to be so good in 3 years from now that it's going to be in the late 20s. It's going to be in mid 20s. I was going back and forth with these fans saying, "Oh, but Luka's going to have them a contender." And it's going to be a meaningless pick. Well, fast forward, ladies and gentlemen, right this moment, that Dallas pick that the Knicks own is pick 14 in one of the best drafts in decades. So if we're still evaluating this KP trade, which we know the Knicks won that trade anyway, but it could be icing on the cake, basically. So I'm really, really watching out for that. And I've seriously studied the Western Conference standings. And yes, Dallas could get a little bit better, but with Sacramento looking so good, with how deep the West currently looks, you got Minnesota desperate to make their acquisitions work. You got Portland still around on the come up. You got the Golden State Warriors out of the play-in. You would have to think that they're going to come up. I really think that the Dallas Mavericks aren't going to be any better than 5, 6, 7 seed. So, if I had to make a guess right this moment, this New York Knicks owned Dallas pick is going to be anywhere from 11 to 16. It's going to be a great pick. It's going to be a good pick. If the Knicks use that pick, they can get talent as well. Now, some people did comment on my tweet to talk about, it's just another mid pick. I understand the frustrations that the Knicks haven't hit on picks yet, but this is different. This draft is different, ladies and gentlemen. A pick in the 11 to 15 range is very, very, very different to just back to last year's draft. Let me make that clear, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, you were able to get like a Tari Eason last draft with a pick in the late teens. This year, a pick in the teens is a player that could be top 5 last year. I mean, it's a lot of deep talent a lot of talent. Of course, the Knicks' current pick is 11, and looks like Washington is going to make the playoffs, which is great for the Knicks as well. And that'll mean that we have Dallas's selection currently 16 right now. So teams that are looking to move a disgruntled star, those kind of teams that would love to have multiple picks in a very deep draft, all close together. That'll help you also move up as well. And of course, thirdly, I don't see it likely, but the Knicks could always use those picks to draft talent themselves, or hopefully at least one of them. Um, my honest hope is to build through this draft, and I hope that the Knicks don't trade all of these picks, in this season's draft, ladies and gentlemen. I think that would be criminal unless you're bringing in a Joel Embiid type difference maker, not a Zach LaVine or somebody like that. That's not going to take the Knicks over the top. We need to get patient with it, ladies and gentlemen, which I give credit to a lot of Knicks fans. We are very, very loyal, and we are very, very patient as well. Enough's enough. I really feel like we need to draft through this, dip into this deep draft, right? And continue to build with this talent. There's so many cases we could make mention of, fam, ladies and gentlemen. We could talk about how good Tyrese Halliburton looks right now, ladies and gentlemen. We could talk about how good Benedict Mathurin looks like right now, how much buzz he's getting as well. So this draft is absolutely crazy, and we need to make use of these picks, right? This could ultimately decide the fate of the Leon Rose regime, yeah, with this situation, fam. So salute Mike. People have to understand RJ is not the player most thought he will be, and Randall have to go. No D at all. No hustle on his part. Yeah. Yeah, we talked a bit about RJ and Randall. Where I sit with Randall is I feel like since 2 years ago, it's been a curse, making an all-star team, all NBA most improved. From some of the Knicks media have told us that Randall feels like he's the guy. We've seen him regress a little bit with Brunson here, but in his mind, he still feels like he's the guy. He wants to be the guy as well. And I take that back to 2 years ago. It was a curse because he's not the guy. Not the number one option on any team right now. We saw that horrible heat check tonight. We need better coaching with this situation. Can Randall be good on a good team? Yes, he could be the right piece to move the rock, play a role, limit his usage, limit his shots. He could be efficient on nights. He could be decent. Could be very, very, very decent. But the effort that he cheats the effort, and ultimately the complete package is just lacking. For Julius Randle, he's not really been on winning teams his whole career. Kaiser, we have to know all-star talent. That's why we need to jettison veterans, right? Play the kids right now. Right now, yeah. Look at this stretch ahead of us, ladies and gents. If we don't continue to play 500 ball, maybe wishful thinking, but just maybe the front office decides to use this year to ride out the kids a lot more, make a couple trades, and see how deep these 3 draft picks can get us, into this lottery, fam. With that, Juan says the 2 top guys in this draft are generational talents, right? Absolutely, fam. 2 generational, and the rest after that can still be franchise guys. Yep. Kaiser doesn't understand the commitment to Randall. He's done nothing the entire time he's been here. Yep. Best role player I think we've ever had that we give a lot of usage to. Shah Legacy, salute. How we doing? RJ is an overhyped underachiever, 100% right now. Yep. Unfortunately, yeah, his NBA career has not gone the way we first thought it to be. We could talk about it all night, but I think there's multiple factors. I think fit on a team is really paramount in the NBA. We've seen dudes like Andrew Wiggins really shine when he gets on a better team, like Golden State. Um, RJ Barrett's worst habits aren't a great thing for this team, and this team's not a great thing for RJ's worst habits. Yeah, as well. Um, Again, development. This franchise, if they've failed at many things, they've probably failed the most over the decades that we've been fans. Is that they're lacking in player development. Um, I mean, it's no more glaringly obvious than with RJ Barrett. He came into the league with all the pedigree you want, all the talent you want, third overall pick, and he's struggled, but we've also failed him to develop him into being a better player. That's 3.5, 4 years of coaches, and players still can't get his shot better. Coaches still can't get his decision making better. His handle's still exactly the same. The finishing hasn't got any better. The only thing that's really gotten better is his free throw shooting, and he's gotten a little bit bigger, I think, which has helped him finish at the hoop a bit more. But I mean, so yeah, I blame RJ, but I blame all these coaches. So like, out of all these coaches he's had, what have the coaches done for him, right? The chat, us, we essentially could have been coaching RJ the same thing, right? Would have made no difference, basically, because he has not changed one bit. Um, Yet consistently a bad player, 30% 3-point shooter, turnover machine. Yep, that's the other thing. And Drizzy on point. Um, Kaiser says, "Tell me where we've been the entire time Randall's been here with him in the lead, losing, and I'm in the lottery." Yep. And Drizzy, Leon Rose, toxic for the franchise. He'll keep this team stuck for years to come, tying up so much money in role players. Yep. And CT, to be honest, I haven't seen this many missed layups from an NBA player. Yep. Yeah, we talked about that too, Andrizzi. Yep, on point. I contribute that to players that were so dominant growing up, like the Randalls, the RJs. They're physically dominant. Their structure, their size enabled them to dominate their opponents growing up. Early coming into the league. But what happens to those players that don't develop other things? When you hit to the NBA, everybody's big, everybody's strong, everybody's in the weight room. It's the best of the best. If you don't develop something else, you're going to look like the exact same player. Yep. And that's all that they try and do. They try and bully their way to the cup. It's one dimensional. And the shooting, they're not the greatest shooters as well. So what would I do if I'm them? Make it simple on yourself, right? Take more efficient shots, mid-range, um, flesh out your playmaking, be more of a decoy, make your teammates better, right? Who would have thought you could be an effective player if you made your teammates better? It ain't just about seeing the cup and trying to put the ball in the cup, right? Most of the time that RJ Barrett and Julius Randle are gifted with drawing attention from the defense. But what do they do with that attention? All they do is try and barrel into their defender and try and put the ball in the cup when all that they got to do is keep their eyes open and probably a teammate is wide open as well. So that's coaching, that's feel for the game, that's growing as well. All they honestly try and do is put the ball in the cup, right? It's so obvious to see from MSG, watching from TV, and from that view we get on the court. And also, what are these guys watching? Are they even watching any film? It's the same thing again. No floor spacing. You know, One of the most embarrassing things about tonight's loss was that Chauncey Billups went on record at the start of the game to the press conference and said, "Yeah, I plan to throw out some zone today. You're going to see a lot of zone, not the whole game, but yeah, we'll mix it up. You know, we'll throw in some zone." I'm like, the coach just told you his schemes before the game, right? They come in, they won the game. They told you their plan. They came in and they won. So it was crazy. Um, with that said, we didn't even have our best shooters on the floor as well. You played Emmanuel quickly not enough minutes. He was the one guy that was busting the zone open as well. And Quentin Grimes got in foul trouble. Yep. Kaiser believes RJ picked up a lot of bad habits from the vets he had here as well. I don't think RJ is in the gym putting in the work. He even looks a little bit out of shape with that. I think it's all about playing to your strengths. Yep, definitely. And RJ doesn't have that gift of great athleticism. He can't jump over people. He doesn't have the best hops. One of his best strengths is his low center of gravity. He can bump into people, get fouls, things like that. Um, Again, I'm glad he's improved on the free throw shooting a little, but tonight he missed a few important ones. However, like Kaiser says, if you're putting in honest work in the gym in 4 years, your finishing should have got better. I mean, that's no that's no knock on any player. That's no shade. If you've worked on your finishing for 4 years, your finishing should be better than what it is. And it's just not there right now, right? Again, he's just relying on his bad habits. A player that was a bully growing up and can bully people. But when you get to the NBA, you can't bully people no more as well. The NBA is full of bullies right now. It's one dimensional with that situation. Now, 5 assists tonight, RJ Barrett. Please let that sink in. Let that be a blueprint that you can help the team still by making people better. You know, you don't need to score 25 points and beat your 20-point stat mantra that they kept preaching. That RJ Barrett, oh, he's a 20-point per game scorer kind of thing as well. I would take 14 points a night on efficiency with 6 assists every night from Bully Barrett as well, because then I know my teammate would be better as well, and my efficiency is making my team better. With all of that stuff, right? Quiet says the fans that roots and believes that one day RJ will turn the proverbial corner needs to realize it ain't happening. He's just about a bust to my expectations right now. A lot of fans frustrated, and I want to get your thoughts, fam, about the trade. Take everybody back to the summer, and in the thick of these Donovan Mitchell trades, right? We've heard legit reports from the Mark Bermans and the reporters that RJ Barrett was very much central to trade talks, right? Um, so Leon Rose didn't draft RJ. You know, um, I honestly feel like the demand of the picks is what turned the Knicks away. I don't feel like it was necessarily that the fact that RJ was in the deal. I think it was the overall package and the Knicks unwilling to give up more picks. So that to me tells me that maybe at least Leon Rose ain't fully sold on RJ Barrett. He didn't draft him as well. He was using him to try to turn him into an all-star like Donovan Mitchell. Now they wasn't able to get it done, but that was maybe a precursor to the fact that they signed RJ to keep the asset, but let's hope he boosts his play, gets his value up on a value contract, maybe hopefully, and then maybe we use him in a bigger deal um, with that situation. Yeah. Also, yeah, the midi as well. Andrizzi's focus on RJ in the mid range should have improved as well. And I want to match that with the coaching as well. There's no schemes, there's no structure to the offense as well. So even if RJ wanted to utilize some mid range, I don't feel like there's enough play calling for RJ. And again, it's about skill set, touch. RJ Barrett just doesn't have that feathery touch. From the day Emmanuel quickly set up on the hardwood for the Knicks, he had a feathery floater game. That was just the skill set he had. From day one, Jalen Brunson's been a Knick. He's brought that feathery touch, that floater around the bucket. When RJ Barrett pops up a floater, it's not feathery at all. It's just comes off his hands flat, and he just throws the ball up as well. So some players are blessed with that touch, some others aren't. I think RJ Barrett's got that more bully mentality situation on offense rather than finesse as well. Jimmy Butler has grown to develop that skill set, DeMar DeRozan has amazing finesse as well in the mid-range. There are two guys that before this season, I'd hoped, RJ Barrett could emulate, but now it's just disrespect to compare Jimmy Butler and DeMar DeRozan with RJ right now. He's got long ways to go with that situation. And again, I go back to whatever development coaches RJ's worked on. Some players can develop finesse and touch with their game. Even players with stone hands can develop, but whatever RJ's been doing, whatever he's worked on, it's not working. Whoever he's paid, whether he's cheated the minutes in the gym or whatever it is, but no one's helped him. No one's been helping him out with that situation. Yep. Quiet says RJ not improved the game since been drafted, right? That's alarming. Yeah. I did make this comment last time, I think, as well, and I said, you look in New York, through not intentionally, but us fans, we can tend to anoint players the next big thing before they're really the next big thing. I mean, RJ Barrett, the third pick, there was a lot of hope in him, and we did, first, second season, we did kind of put him in a situation where he's untouchable and he's going to be the next franchise-saving guy. Some people did that to Randall as well. And I think we need to pump the brakes on that a little bit more, operate like a small market franchise, and look at every player, evaluate every player until they've actually done something. Then they become untouchable, kind of thing. But us Knicks fans, we're so devoted, so passionate, so loyal. We rock with the player no matter what, most of the time early on in their career, and we anoint them untouchable, and with that situation. So yeah, watch this space with RJ. Slow starts again. Again, that's another area where he's failing, but where Tom Thibodeau's failing for me. If you're trying to move your franchise in a direction, you're trying to develop one of your key young guys, get him in a groove, call a couple of plays for him out of a timeout. The Knicks aren't doing that. They're not setting RJ up to succeed as well. As bad as he is, they're not helping him one bit. Letting Julius Randle do what he do, having Brunson with his usage, they're not helping RJ one bit. It's like Tom Thibodeau doesn't really care about the future direction of this team. He's all about wins and losses. That's it. It's up to Leon Rose to realize what the real priority is with this situation. Otherwise, the rug's going to get pulled out from everybody, eventually, right? Because we continue to kill assets. That's another thing that the Knicks have issues with. The fact that we can't develop players to become stars so that their value can go up, Now, we've missed the boat with Obi Toppin potentially using him in a blockbuster deal where he's central to the deal. Now, teams look at Obi like, yeah, he's nice, but he's a role player, So the last few years, we've missed that chance to really invest in him situationally as well. Now with RJ, we have him in a blockbuster talk with Utah with Danny, and we still have to attach 3-4 unprotecteds even with RJ in the deal. I mean, that should have been talked about as lunacy 3 years ago. The fact that the Knicks had to include RJ and 3 unprotecteds just to get a player. So we've failed in that regard in developing RJ as well, right? His value around the league is probably the same as John Collins, probably the same as Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson, someone like that. His value can't be too high right now, man. Yep. And Drizzy talking about RJ's form on the jump shot too. Yep. There's a bit of a hitch in the shot as a lefty. As well. He's got the right wrist flick. I feel like it's just how it comes off the hands, and I think RJ's lift. He has that little pop off his tippy toes as well. I feel like RJ Barrett's feet need to be more set as well. But I'm no shot doctor as well. I just see what I see. I look at Quentin Grimes' jump shot and RJ Barrett's jump shot. One's graffiti and the other one's artwork. with that situation. Um, Even if he turns it up in December, he doesn't deserve 100 mil to play good for half a season right now. Um, I got to look at is the contract ascending, descending? Um, the thing is, the contract hasn't even kicked in yet. So actually, RJ Barrett is actually earning $10 million this season, ladies and gentlemen. He's not even earning the 20 something million yet. So I mean, next season is really the season. If RJ's still here, that's when he's earning that $100 million extension right now. And I'm rooting for the kid. I never root for a Nick to fail whatsoever. I hope if he sticks around, RJ Barrett will just get better and better every year of this contract, so that by the end or midway through the contract, he's playing up to it or outplaying it. Wishful thinking, but um, right now that's a long way off. We need to clear the space, clear the decks, um, and I'm looking at the Rose, Fournier, and Randall wishful thinking situation. Out of RJ and Randall, I still prefer Randall gone as well, because I think you can make a Brunson RJ situation work when you pull in another big name as well. Give RJ more freedom, more space to operate. Right now, Randall takes away a lot of touches too. He slows the offense down as well. RJ Barrett can thrive in transition together with Brunson, but we all know Julius Randle's not a transition type player. Yeah, with this situation, right? Um, Quiet says the Knicks missed again, drafting RJ instead of Garland, knowing that we needed the point guard. Yep. It's interesting you mentioned that, because there's more debate about selecting RJ than people believe. The Knicks were looking at trading down. From what we hear, that they were seriously considering that. It was Scott Perry. I think it was Scott Perry, Steve Mills, that really, really pushed for RJ Barrett as well with that situation. I think it was more Steve Mills. Um, yep, yep. Salute Buzzer. Yep, appreciate you as well. Let's get it. Yeah, the merch below. There's a store tab on the YouTube channel. Check that out. Copy yourself a lid. Yeah, appreciate you. And Drizzy says, yeah, but it's 4 years of slow starts. You really think that's going to change next year? No, I don't think it's going to change overnight either. It's not going to be like RJ blinks and he's going to be living up to the third overall pick. But there are players in the league that get better every year, and by the time they're in their mid late 20s, they're good players. Um, it's hard to compare RJ because he's just game so unique. Well, he lacks that finesse, but a fluidity and movement. But a guy like Andrew Wiggins is what you could hope RJ could be by that age, I guess. Um, but like I did say, Wiggins on a great team, anybody can look better on the Golden State Warriors. So my biggest hope for RJ is that he's in a better system. Get out of here, Tom Thibodeau, and playing with better teammates. Get out of here, Julius Randle. Then I think RJ Barrett gets better by default, overnight. Um, how much better, I don't know, but I believe he gets better overnight. When you get Tom Thibodeau out of here as well, you get more fluidity, more ball movement, and better floor spacing as well. Can you imagine RJ Barrett coming off the curl, dipping around the corner, secondary ball action, running downhill, getting to the paint with good floor spacing? We're not going to get that with Julius Randle and Tom Thibodeau here as well. I mean, like I said, tonight was embarrassing that Portland said they was going to play zone before the game began, and they played zone most of the night. So that was the space taken away that RJ Barrett needs to operate automatically. Well, so I mean, he can't thrive in this offense. He can't thrive in this team right now. Right? Yep, he's Wiggins, buzzer. Yep. And Drizzy, true. I just think RJ and everyone else on the team will flourish without Randall and Tibbs. Completely agree. Yep. Completely agree, fam. Yep. Modernizing the game. Yep. And like I said earlier, I'm not a Tibbs hater. He's obviously learnt a hell of a lot throughout his career in ball principles and player management and X's and O's and things like that. But like everything in life, things evolve, right? Technologies evolve, you know. The cell phones from 10 years ago, 15 years ago can't do the same things that the cell phones can do now. These ball players are different as well. Um, I mean, what other analogies can we say, you know? The schemes have evolved. Look at these young coaches thriving in the league. Again, what worked for someone 10, 15, 20 years ago may not necessarily work for them today. You know, things change, things evolve. Like now, Tom Thibodeau's just not evolved at all, right? Offensively, no coordinator, nobody brought in outside of Rick Brunson to help this offense look better. You know, better spacing. With that said, and to wrap tonight's show up, I'll make this thing looking forward because I want to stay positive. My only hope moving forward is that Leon Rose is seeing what we're seeing. This front office is seeing the clunky fit, and that they're fully focused now on making some big upheaval and roster changes up in here as well. They committed this money to Randall. They committed this money to RJ, and it's looking funky right now as well. If they want to persist with it, that's up to their own stubbornness and stupidity right now. But it's obvious that things aren't fitting well, and that we need some upheaval and shedding, some shedding of some players. And I'm not talking about Fournier because he's DNPs right now. You know, his money expires next season. If we can't find a taker forever, and then we can just keep him and sit him. I'm talking about either the Randall, the Obi type situations, the RJs as well. More of the frequently used players. We need some upheaval with that situation. Open the floor spacing up as well. We need some shooters up in here as well. There's talk Duncan Robinson. You know, this ain't a name I've thought of too much, but there's talk that Duncan Robinson is out there on the block as well. Some floor spacing, some shooting situation. We're yet to see what a Cam Reddish, Quentin Grimes situation looks like in the wing spot. I like Deuce McBride staying in the minute, you know, staying ready, getting minutes. I want Jericho Sims to start fully getting minutes now, ladies and gentlemen, and then we move forward with that situation, slow steps. But yet, the Knicks have failed at player development. Basically, we're yet to make a player develop into a star that we've grown, we've drafted. And with that situation, RJ Barrett, you know, came into the league with all the pedigree you could possibly need, and so far in 4 years, we haven't increased his value anymore. It's decreased, basically. And like I said, I use the example. We had to include his name and 3 unprotected picks in a trade just for Donovan Mitchell. You know, years ago, that would have been lunacy. It would have been RJ and that's it, kind of thing as well. So, yeah, hope everybody has a blessed weekend. Salute to Replay Gang. Salute to the best chat in the biz, rocking out tonight. Very disappointing loss, ugly loss, but we're seeing the consistency of inconsistency of this team come through this season so far as well. It's not going to get any easier. Memphis coming through. Let's see what happens with this. But peace to everyone out there. Peace, Replay Gang. Salute, Knicks Nation. Let's get it on the next one.